And I guess if we have any discussion around, oh God, not saying this meeting is being live streamed. Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to elect a, well, I guess, is there any public comment, Stephanie? Steph, are you hearing me?
Comments. No.
There's no public comment.
No.
So we go to election of chair and vice chair. So is there supposed to be a nomination? I can remember how this.
Someone can nominate someone.
I will nominate Steve to serve as chair and Tom Raphael to serve as vice chair.
That's what he gets for not being here.
Well, so we so move that we have been unanimously reinstated. Okay, so now is it the finance, Kristen, report that we are going to do?
Sure thing. So I trust you've all had adequate time to review the agenda material. I prepared a detailed 5-year financial plan for the benefit of the committee and for council. And I have included information on the recommended rate for 2023. So in the report, I am proposing that user rates be increased by 5% this year, from 840 to 882 for the user rate. That's what connected properties pay. And then a similar increase, 5% increase in the parcel tax. So that would mean an increase from 420 for connected properties to 442. And if we keep that same 50 split of the unconnected ratio, that would mean an increase from $210 to $221 for the unconnected properties. In the report, I wrote a little bit about the investment return experience with the short-term bond fund, where we hold reserve and utility reserves at the Municipal Finance Authority. Last year, we did have experienced negative returns on that fund. They were not realized, they were unrealized losses. And we have spent the entire fiscal year of 2022 monitoring the performance of that fund monthly. I think the intention is to hang on to those bond funds because we don't actually want to capitalize those losses. We don't want to realize those losses. Since the lowest point where they dropped in the year, they've rebounded by about 50% of their value. And as interest rates continue to stay high, as the underlying investments that are held in that fund, they're a short-term bond fund with a 3 to 5 year investment time frame. As they continue to mature and are replaced with newer bonds that are returning a higher rate of interest, we expect the underlying value of the securities to.
Excuse me, Kristen. I've just got Tom calling.
Of course, yeah.
I thought I can get him on here. I'm in a dead zone. Hello.
Maybe he can't get in. He's trying to get in, maybe.
He's not in the waiting room. I can send him another. Oh, sorry, I muted Steve on the phone. Sorry, Steve.
You're muted.
Steve, you're muted. There you go.
Okay, I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I guess Tom was trying to get in on the meeting. He must have difficulties, but I don't know what I can't help him.
Well, the other option is he just phones you and you put him on speakerphone and he can just listen.
I can resend the link. You know what? I'm wondering if he's gone into Teams by accident.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, it takes you into Teams sometimes.
Do you see him trying to get into the Zoom
He's
meeting?
not in the waiting room, but I will email him another link.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening with his computer, but he told me that he had it replaced or repaired or something. No, nothing's happening. I guess
Were
we
you
just
able,
keep,
did you connect with them on your cell phone?
well, no, I don't have cell reception where I
Oh,
am.
so you're in a dead spot,
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, that's why I have 2 landlines so that I can have safety to the world.
Yeah.
My cell phone is useless. Okay,
Okay.
we'll proceed.
So our intention is to hang on to those units in that fund. We're pleased to see that since the lowest point, we've managed to recoup half of those unrealized losses. So we just anticipate that that pattern will continue, providing interest rates don't continue to climb exponentially during the year. We kind of think that they've topped out, and in fact, interest rates are going to start more of a declining trend. And then the value of those underlying bonds is going to go up because they're attracting a higher rate of interest now. So that's our expectation. That is the plan that we have discussed both among staff, with the MFA, and with the finance committee as well. So
You
that's
don't need our input or advice on this now.
well, I mean, if you were keen to sell the Hood Point portion of the investment, I would certainly
And realize the loss.
realize the loss. I'd certainly take your advice, but if we don't need the funds, we
No.
feel that
no.
it's a prudent strategy just to hang on to them until they
Yeah,
become.
no. Unless Mike has any other opinion from his perspective, but
No, I'm living this reality too. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
From the operations side of things, we are budgeting an overall increase of about 4% in the expenditure side, then continue to increase those at 3% per year for years 2 to 5. We are entering into a period of contract negotiations with our union partners. We expect to wrap up a new collective agreement this year, which is going to have additional cost implications for future years. And in addition to the budgeted increase in salaries, we've also actually assigned some additional administrative staffing costs to salaries and benefits this year. A bigger portion of my salary has been included because of that. I was only here, there was a partial year vacancy with me last year. So this year, the allocation is a full year's worth of my salary. We're allocated a higher percentage of the director of engineering salary.
Hello,
Hello? Oh, sorry.
I've got Tom on the line here. Just a sec.
Can, okay, continue or?
Oh, okay. It doesn't have the app.
Is he going to listen in, Councillor Moore?
On Zoom before. Oh, what's his new computer?
Oh, I guess it's computer. Yeah, can Allison put him on her phone or something?
Yeah, put him on
Is she-
FaceTime.
Is she gone unmuted? Well, she's gone
Yeah.
mute. She's
All right,
gone
somebody
mute.
say something so Tom can hear
Hello?
enough.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Okay, this is part, I think, is Tom's request. He had asked for additional information last year on the breakout of legal and audit and insurance budgets last year. I included that in the report, so I hope that that information addresses those questions. I'm happy to answer any other questions that committee members may have or provide additional information. But our hope tonight is that we can get committee support to increase rates by 5% and increase parcel taxes by 5% as well.
Okay.
My only comment is that enough, given what's going on in inflation?
You know, we know that there are all kinds of unknown liabilities that are coming, don't mind the pun, down the pipe at us. We we are working towards, council has given us direction to prioritize completion of the asset management policy. We know that there are any number of unmeasured liabilities that are going to result from the information that we gleaned from that report. If it was your recommendation to go higher than 5, I would absolutely support that recommendation. I know Patrick would too. And happy to entertain a higher, maybe a 7 or 10% increase. Absolutely.
Well, I'm not saying I haven't thought it out. Sorry, Trump was just indicted. You guys know that.
Okay, forget that. Don't spoil the meeting.
Yeah, no, I would, as far as this is the operating expenses for the water system. And I would say that, yeah, a 5%, we just carry on, and our capital fund, it's if we're going to be short of money at some point for repairs, we're just going to have to do assessments anyway. We can't gauge how much we could
Fair
keep
enough.
increasing. So I think with the other property tax increases people are looking at this point, if we just keep at the 5 in my mind, and then obviously if we're shortfall at some point, we're going to have to come up with the money anyway.
The user rate's going to be 882.
I think that's what.
That's the first
Yes,
paragraph.
That's
and
right.
then
Yeah.
our
882
taxes
from 840.
Are going to be 442 and 221.
Okay.
And
Do you
I
have
know
any
what
other Mike? Do you have any comment on whether you?
No,
think-
if we could hold it at 5, I would be in favor of that.
Okay.
Your reserves are a lot healthier than some of the other LACs.
Well, yeah, and at the end of the day, like I say again, we're going to have to do special assessments if we have some major issue. And if the expenses at the end of the year, next year, are more than 5% when we get through this year, we'll have to do the more of a hike then. But I guess unless when we hear, Patrick, that there's any special ongoing operating that's causing things to go up even more, then maybe we can decide. But I think, yeah, if we stick it at 5 at this point, that's all we can do.
I guess the only question I have, and maybe Patrick's going to address this, but under capital expenditures, there's 10,000 in there for water main replacements. I'm just wondering what that is, and is that an early warning that there could be much more that's coming down the pipe, to use that phrase again?
No, it's really a provision. It's under equipment replacement and upgrade. So it's a provision for like a pump failure or some kind of panel replacement, something like that. So yeah, it's just a provision.
Okay.
There's nothing scheduled that he has at this point.
And the capital project consulting of 5,000, what was that?
That is to complete the dam operations and maintenance plan.
Okay.
Okay, I guess that's under Patrick's thing. So I was wondering if that got completed, or I guess he can speak to that.
Can we get a formal recommendation from the committee before we move on to Patrick's piece, please?
Yeah,
Okay, I
I'll
guess.
look at
So the recommendations on the first page of the agenda.
So it's that the committee recommend that council draft that the draft Hood Point Water System 5-year financial plan as presented at this meeting be included as part of the municipality's 5-year plan, and that the committee support the plan for 5-year user rate and parcel tax increases as recommended by staff.
Okay,
I'm in favor of that.
yeah, in favor.
Seconder.
I'll second it. We only have
All in favor?
all in favor.
Tom, are you still there?
Yes, I'm just having trouble hearing. Yes, in favor.
Thank you.
Is that the end of the, let me look here on the group.
You're at 6.1 now.
Financial.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so we can go on to Patrick at the.
Sure.
Right.
if we're done with the finance, sure. There's, there's not a lot of ongoing capital work in the Hood Point system. We've had a lot of focus on capital work elsewhere. Their operation maintenance and survey. I believe it's complete. There was a request from the consultants, Creus, who were helping with us with that, to provincial dam safety officer to reduce the rating of the dam to a low consequence dam. And he had asked for a bunch of additional information. I'm going to have to follow up with the consultant about where that is and whether we can just finalize it as is, as a moderate consequence dam, and move on from there. I'm not sure.
Benefits to be at the lower level
Yes.
for all of us?
Say that again. I didn't catch that.
Benefits to being at a lower level versus the level you're at now.
Yeah, it's less less requirements in terms of ongoing operation maintenance and surveillance. It probably wouldn't make much difference to our operational procedures, but yeah, generally it's better.
So I'm having trouble hearing, and I apologize, but did you say we are pursuing that, or we're not going to?
Well, it's one of those things that we were pursuing it, and then the province asked for a bunch more information, and then it never advanced beyond that. I'm just looking in my email record to see if when the last correspondence from the province or Creus was about that. I'm not sure. I'll have to chase them down and find out where that sits. It was essentially the plan was done.
Would ask. I'm sorry. I for one would ask that we do pursue the reduction in classification, because in the future there may be more demands on higher level, and being at the lowest level is prudent planning.
Yeah. Okay. I will follow up on that and find out, where that ball got dropped, but because it has been a while. So, all right, we'll find out about that and get back to this committee.
But basically our dam is approved as being safe or whatever. And I think one of the questions we had before, and I know this goes back to the asset review that's been going on for a number of years, if our dam was considered part of our assets and is insured, I don't know what kind of insurance we can get on it, I guess, other than if it fails somehow due to I don't know whether earthquake or whatever natural disaster happens that maybe it gets wiped out. I don't know whether was part of that insurance. There's any insurance on that. The actual piping and treatment plant and all that, I assume, is insured as part of the asset thing, whatever our values are at this point. I guess Kristen knows when that report or at some point that asset management plan is going to be done, or.
Yeah, just from the insurance perspective, we're only able to get actual cash value insurance for these types of assets. Like the insurer won't go replacement costs because they're just so hard to, measure these days with the crazy increases to every kind of infrastructure program. So anything that is like that kind of asset, they are really just based on, on historical costs. So yes, I can confirm that the dam, the lines and the treatment is insured, but absolutely is not insured to the level that ideally you would, but it's just not possible to obtain that kind of insurance.
Okay, well, it's the best we can do, so that, yeah. Okay, thanks.
And in terms of asset management plan, we are working on that. There is a lot of eventual capital replacement requirements in the system. The weakest link in the system is the line from Honeymoon Lake down the mountain. It's come very close to being crushed by rocks coming down the hill or trees, and it does freeze. And that's obviously that's not ideal. So it is something that we'll want to upgrade at some point. I don't have a particular time frame on it, but and it's something that could be where the issue could be forced by some rockfall, tree fall, or similar event.
Patrick, we've upgraded it ourselves over the years. You have a recommendation of what burying it's impossible. What would you recommend as an upgrade from what we have?
Well, you could insulate it. That would reduce the incidence of freezing. We would want to look at, the cost of doing that versus the benefit. And maybe there's sections along the main that are more vulnerable, and maybe a risk assessment of that line is something that we want to look at. Essentially, that would involve looking at tree fall and rock fall hazards along the length of the elevated line, and potentially addressing some of those hazards.
Okay, the valves that were freezing this window, that's pretty much, I don't know, the insulation. You can't really do much more insulation with the pipe is insulated pipe, but to insulate it anymore would require I don't know, some major procedure, wouldn't it? Not just change, because it is already supposedly insulated pipe.
It's just pipe. It's not it's not really insulated. It's HDP pipe. The valves that froze and had to be fixed, that was a result of somebody turning off the flow that was left on by our operations staff for the reason of preventing freezing. So that's something that we'll want to communicate to people is, if don't touch the municipal infrastructure, right? If somebody's left a tap on, it's on for a reason. And
I heard that. I heard that from the crew.
I read that, but was that an outdoor valve or was that a valve internally in the building?
No, these are
outdoors. Yeah.
But they can put chain or lock on those, can't they? They can lock them open.
Yeah,
well,
none of us did it. Some kids may have done it.
Yeah.
No, there's people that walk that line, Tom, all the time now. It's become quite a trail, and somebody thought they were saving our waters.
Your point, my point is that we should secure it so that not anyone can, when the municipality as an operator leaves the valve open for a purpose, it should be locked in place somehow. I'm asking if that's possible as opposed to being open to anyone closing it.
Yeah, that's something that we're looking at doing now is ensuring that these
so that's being looked into, and you could report on that along with the other information.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes we also have sample taps running for reasons of chlorine residual and towards the end of the lines. So it's not
Tom's got one of those at his place.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. The good
Yeah.
news is that we have sufficient water to allow that to occur. And in the winter, there's a lot of excess water. The photograph of that external valve freezing, that was quite a photograph.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one last question arising out of that. I'm not an engineer, the pipe that Steve was talking to about, which may not be insulated, but it's made of polypropylene or something like that. Are the valves, which are metal, more prone to freeze than the polypropylene pipe, water in them?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I think they can both freeze. It's just that at the fitting or at the valves, you're more likely that something's going to break.
Well, would it make sense? I'm throwing ideas out to build a box around the valves and insulate only the valves.
Possibly. I guess the lowest cost solution is to allow it to flow and then like we've mentioned, secure the taps so they can't be closed.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But I'm just asking if we built a box that was 4 feet cubed around the valve and insulated it, or whatever size is necessary, wouldn't that help? It seems to me that metal seems to be more prone to freezing the water internally than the plastics of the pipe.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right, and certainly insulating it would help. That's an option we can look into as well.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank
I think we've talked on this quite a bit over the years of different things, and the only other one was putting electric wire down it, but then there's a hydro problem. We either have to have a generator somewhere running because there's no hydro access in that area. That was the last other option that I think we were considering at one point, was the electric heat wire to keep it from freezing, but so far it's been just as easy to keep replacing the valves every year, I guess, and switching over to Eagle Cliff water, which in the winter doesn't seem to be a problem.
Is this the first year the valves have frozen?
Oh no, it's every year
Okay,
from my
I
understanding.
just always thought it was the water line that froze.
I think it's been the valves.
Yeah, I think it's the valve.
Why we're asking the question.
Yeah. And whether those could be heated or insulated, but there's no hydro to get to there. So unless they had a great battery backup or solar, but in the winter, there's no sun on the north side of the mountain. So that probably doesn't work either. Well, I guess, Patrick, if there's anything at some point your crew or whatever can come up with alternatives, that would be great.
You can have a
Is
box
there-
built work party.
Okay, was there any other items that we need to be looking at as far as the system, the treatment plant is working and all the filtration?
I haven't really had any issues other than the ones we've discussed. The water quality, there hasn't been any water quality issues or quantity other than the freezing.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, I guess the only other issue I just was going to ask you, I don't think we have a problem, but I see in the February undercurrent, Xenia closing off their road now because they've had such difficulties with tourists venturing onto the site, I don't know that they're going to make it any more difficult for us to access the road. I guess your crews have been able to go up there without any problem.
Yeah, I haven't, as far as I know, that hasn't translated to any issues for our access.
Yeah, she didn't tell you there was a problem or anything that,
No.
okay. Yeah, well, longer term, we may have to look at another access so that we're not crossing a property, but the moment we'll wait till either Hood Point Properties decides to develop something up there around the lake and they can be part of putting in a road, maybe.
Yeah, long term, it's an issue that has to be addressed.
Yeah, the road is still being maintained or workable. I know it's pretty rough.
Well, there was some improvements to it last year, but it was pretty basic.
Yeah.
Just to get up and do the repairs that were needed to be done to the dam. The road needed upgraded a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's something we may look at because it crosses Crown land. The only point we need is an access from the municipality. There's one strip there off the road that the municipality has a right of way, I think. And then we could run the road the rest of the way on Crown land and then Hood Point Properties. But at the moment, if you still have access for doing maintenance and checking and service, I guess that'll be something that we'll look at. Okay, is there anything else we need to go over that?
I have one other thing that came up a year ago when the municipality shared with us the report of the quality of our water. There were violations, provincial violations. We were above the acceptable level in a couple of areas. And it seemed to me that, as was said, I have at my property one of those valves that allow water to run through. And the operators have turned it down to almost nothing. It used to run much more, I don't know what the right word is, strongly. Much more water would flow through the line, and they've reduced it to a drip. And I'm wondering, and I've spoken to people about this, whether if it went back to the way it used to be, we wouldn't be in violation because there'd be more water flowing through. It was, I can't remember. Patrick, you probably remember where we were in violation in those provincial standards.
Yeah, I
can't remember what it was.
I think it was like the disinfection byproducts.
It was the THCs, wasn't it?
Yes,
I think
it was THC and something else.
That's nothing to do with the sample tap.
Well, yeah, something that the running of the sample tap was meant to resolve. I don't think we had any exceedances on this year's water quality report for Hood Point, which is all.
The last one I've seen, which was a year old when you presented it, had violations, and I haven't seen a more recent one. I was hoping maybe it would be in, the materials, but I haven't seen it. It was 21 that you gave us last, 2021 in 2022, and this is 2023.
Yeah, so the
and I would have thought 2022. But just to finish my thought, there used to be 6 valves in our system that would bleed water off, keep various things in check. I think there are only 2 now. 4 have been closed, or 3 have been closed, which really reduces the flow in and of itself. And then the staff is reducing the 2 that remain, mine being one of them, to a trickle, which just seems poor planning.
Okay.
So 2 questions, Patrick. One, could we see the 2022 water quality report, please?
Yes. I will check on the,
And secondly, could you ask your staff to open up the valves to the level they used to be for many years when we ran the system and when you first ran the system?
yeah, I'll talk to them about why they've reduced that flow and,
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, Patrick, Tom, I remember this, it's kind of now coming back to the discussion. The reason we had a lot of people wanting those taps closed is because they were running onto their property and eroding their, creating a stream
Yes,
almost.
that's why we lost them, which is all the more reason to have the remaining ones not be reduced in flow, but if anything, increased in flow.
Yeah, no, but I think, Tom, we talked, now it's coming back to me, that the solution would be, is that we maybe have to endure the expense of burying a drain line that doesn't put it.
I've already, in mine, it's already, I paid for my own.
Yeah, but
pipe
you're
running all the
okay,
way
but
to the sea. So
yeah, but I know there was other problems.
is what I'd like to see, Graham. Open
So-
to the level it used to be.
Patrick, I'm
Yeah,
having a little
but you-
trouble understanding. If the trihalomethanes or the byproduct of the chlorine with the plant matter, which I think is THCs or TBCs or something, that's not solved by running a sample tap open, is it? I thought that was a something that happens when it comes out of the tank, out of the treatment.
It can help. You get those formed if you have too much stagnant water in the lines.
Yeah.
So it does help.
That's what I've heard as well.
Yeah, that's why we said it would probably be worthwhile if the existing drain tap is eroding private property, we may have to
But
dig.
it's not, Steve. There are only
Yeah.
2. Both
No,
the ones
Tom,
that were eroding have been eliminated. And
No,
the
Tom.
only 2 remaining are, at
No.
least mine, is piped to the sea and could be opened without any trouble.
No, Tom, you're wrong. There's people that have got them running down onto their property. There should be a whole bunch of these things open, and you were down to just a few. And that's why it got turned off, because the people were complaining. And that's what I'm saying. We need more openings. We need more locations, not just yours. And we could get them if we went around and looked and saw if there was alternative drainage to let these things flow all the time, because there is enough water if we need to.
You're right, but there's no reason, Steve, for them to be turned down in my situation, at least. And I'm one of 2 that I believe are running at the moment.
Yeah, no, there's 5 or 6 that should be running. There's more than just 2 or 3. There used to be about 5 or 6. And that's what
Yes,
we need.
that's right. But I understand people have complained and shut them off, but the municipality has shut them off at their request.
Yeah, because they were on their property. And that's what I'm saying. We've got to divert them.
Okay, so maybe that's a to-do item, a follow-up action list for staff.
Yeah, we'll have to, somebody take a look at where they should be, and if we can be relocated to have a wide disbursement around the whole Hood Point system area of where the other ones maybe need to be either relocated or open. I guess staff can look at that, or somebody can, to see if there's more locations.
They're usually at the end of the lines, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, different zones that sit stagnant because of, once we get, especially through the summer point, there's a lot of vacancies. And so then the water isn't circulated as much in all zones. But anyone who's got one like Tom, who could care, it's not eroding the property or doing any problem. Yeah, certainly you can open that up. That's not a problem. But we should have more locations.
Okay. We'll look into the flow rate for the existing ones and what needs to be done to have more flow locations.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be great.
You need to find people who like to water their gardens and put it near their place.
In the winter.
Yeah.
In the winter, you don't want to water your garden though.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the next thing is any other new business that, I guess I have one point though, I just thinking about it, is as far as when there is a water problem, twice now, staff have tried to contact me to get a hold of people. And I'm just, had a side note here. I remember, I know that municipalities developing a new emergency response program, and there's going to be more coordinators and all things. But somehow the municipality's got to maybe come up with an email and phone listing for people, because sometimes they think, well, they can just get a hold of the Hood Point Householder Society. But we've had 5 or 6 members or more that are not part of the Hood Point households. So we have no contact information, and we're just an advisory committee. It shouldn't sort of be up to us to let people know there's been a water line break or there's been something. But a couple of times I get called to ask to get a hold of somebody, and sometimes I'm not even here. I find out later it's a message on my machine. So somehow between the emergency response, which I think they're working on, we got to come up with, or the municipality come up with, a more detailed contact of either email, cell phones. I know people now are more into texting probably than even emails, to let them know that there's either a water issue at their place or it's going to be turned off or something like that. So,
Steve, we have a list in our mailing list for the agendas that go to hundreds of people. We also have individual water system lists. We aggressively promote those. They're pretty popular. Like I think Tunstall, what did we say, Allison? 89 people.
Well, we were looking at the list today, but that's if you're wanting to send out a notice to a whole group. So we were trying to get.
If they put their email onto that list, then we have access to that information.
But
Yeah.
the other thing is we should have for everybody a phone number and an email address, just so that we can contact them if need be. So I don't know whether people have refused to give phone numbers or email addresses. So if you guys could encourage everybody to do that.
yeah, that's my only thought, is because so many people in our area are not here full time, they're not even aware they can go on a website and sign up to get notices and all this. And and then there's some people that we don't deal with, but is if during the tax, when they send out the water bill or the tax thing, is to maybe put in a specific thing that they have to fill out to send back.
We do. It's on the back of every bill in the communication about here's information about your water bill. Please sign up. We'll give it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
can we
Well, I
put
guess
something in to say, we need your phone number
We
so we can contact you in an emergency. Otherwise, we're going to have to just shut your water off.
yeah. Anyway, I think the emergency response team, I know they're going to probably try and work on having some way of contacting, letting people know too. So
That's the ENS system, which is voluntary. You have to sign up for that.
yeah. Okay. Well, is there any other business or need? We can move.
Steve, can I just do a quick review of what came of our last conversation? I've got 4 actions. Get the dam consequence level lowered. I'll follow up on that process.
Can you echo out, Allison? I can't hear that.
I'm just doing a summary of our previous conversation of the asks, that there be a follow-up regarding dam consequence level and it being lowered. There was an ask that Patrick report on the freezing valve. Is that correct? Insulating it. That he was going to follow up on the 2022 water quality report. And 4 was to find out if the existing valves flow rate can be increased and find locations for more release valves.
No, it's end of line.
End of line.
I think.
Flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flow valves.
Is that the 4 things you would like?
That sounds like they're the ones. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can we move to close?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good night,
Thank you.
Tom.